Welcome, everyone. This is our second episode of the Old Man Boxing podcast. A wonderful world of white-collar boxing. There you go, that's a mouthful. So I'm going to do some introductions. As previously, so Rob Clark is here.
The legend.
Julian Polk, both from Old Man Boxing, and there's myself, who's hosting, Graham. And we have some guests today. So from the Coliseum Gym, I've got Danny Humphries. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And call you a legend as well, if you like. Rich Loveday from Tank Promotions. Welcome, mate. Nice to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. So we in episode 1, we discussed about pathways to boxing and how it's changed over the course of many years. Access, to boxing and training facilities and fights and so on and so forth. And from sort of the dark and dingy days from when me and Rob were boxing in the sort of mid-80s, where real cutthroat amateur boxing gym, do or die, unless you're under 20 years old and have any decent sort of skill and fitness level, they're not really interested, up to today's environment where pretty much, boxing's it's so high profile now and people have got more access to it. And we discussed that in the first episode, but this is kind of a continuation of that, is the whole white collar scene. And we want to obviously chat with you guys because you're at the forefront of all of this and have been for the last, how many years now, probably?
12 years for me.
12 years, is it? Yeah. And how it's sort of increased in popularity and some of the, I want to dispel some of the myths behind it as well, because I think, and Danny, we just briefly off air, we discussed about, sometimes we talk about white collar boxing and unlicensed. As soon as the word unlicensed comes into it, people start thinking, right, this is spit and sawdust, hay bales and bare knuckles.
Yeah, it makes it sound dirty or illegal.
Yeah. I mean, and I've had it sort of levelled at me once I've talked about unlicensed. Is, oh, what? You're a gypsy, and genuine things like that. And it's kind of a complete misconception, obviously, and I think we'll chat about that. But firstly, from you guys and your perspective, we'll start with you, Rich. Do you want to sort of give us a sort of your background in this lovely, wonderful world that is white collar boxing?
Wow, where do I start? So I've got to start from the beginning. I was fortunate. I actually started doing MMA, and it was back in my security days, and that's how I met Rob. Rob was my old boss. So many years ago, you would do the door. I would do that, and it was something I didn't really enjoy. I had to do it because needs must. And in that environment, you'd get into sort of scrapes and things along the way, and coupled with that, I used to love watching the UFC on TV.
Yeah.
And one man that sprung to mind for me, who I followed for many years, was a guy called Mark Kerr, the Smashing Machine.
Film, wasn't it?
Of course,
yeah,
on film,
course,
that's right. But I watched the original, the documentary on him.
Okay.
And so, back in the door, you'd have little scrapes, and I never did any boxing, no MMA in my life, but I wanted to fight in a cage. And my advice is to anyone that watches this podcast: do not have an MMA fight when you're training. All right, it's not good for your health. So I started going to a jiu-jitsu club, VT Jiu-Jitsu, which was by Lee Remedios, who fought in the early UFC days when I had no gloves. And I remember going there, and that opened my eyes. And I think he taught me a lesson that you're not ready for a fight yet. But I already committed to this particular fight. So I had 3 MMA fights before I even boxed. And I got offered a boxing bout, so I thought I'd better go to a boxing gym. And I was very fortunate in Swindon. Swindon is a very lot of history with a boxing. And there's a man called Eddie Nielsen who fought Joe Bogner and Frank Bruno back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, yeah.
And so I got invited to his house. He had a gym on the back of his house, and that's how my boxing started.
Okay.
It was the ringside gym. And I wasn't really very good at it. And I had my first white collar fight at the Mecca. And that's where it all began for me.
Oh, right.
And I won. And I was like, blimey, I won a fight. And I never looked back since.
Yeah.
That's how it started. But then things quickly progressed.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
I think
course.
we'll have a chat about that as well. Danny, what about yourself? Because, well, I mean, we know you from at the shows, fighting, coaching, promoting everything. I mean, I'm surprised you don't do the DJ halfway through as well. So what's...
talking about wrestling earlier. No, I love it. I mean, it's a quick... I think I was probably 9 or 10 when I first went to a boxing... It wasn't even a gym. It was like... it was an old amateur friend of mine who's older, but he sort of like ran it in a community village.
Okay.
So 9 or 10, and I did that for a handful of months, and then ended up kickboxing for probably 11, 12 years before coming back. Well, rugby in between that as well.
Oh, right.
So contact sports, I love it. But boxing really fell in my lap through charity, through wanting to have a fight to raise awareness for things and close to my heart sort of thing. And, first fight sort of like back into the sort of like fighting kind of things is where I met this man, and kind of just snowballed from there, really.
Certainly has, hasn't it?
Yeah, snowballed massively.
Because now your gym, remind us where your gym's based in?
Gym's in Didcot. 4 years old in November.
Fantastic.
Fourth show in August. We've been given land to, so we're a CIC now, so we're almost basically like a charity, non-profit boxing gym for the community. Been given land to build a gym now, so we're kind of like... Oh,
wow. Brilliant. So it's on from there.
Go. It's all go, yeah.
Oh, blimey. Fantastic. So I'm going to kind of switch around now from to this side of the sofa, to the gentleman to the right of me. Julian, all right? All right, yeah, very good. So Julian trains and coaches out of Old Man Boxing, and he's very familiar with Jules, obviously, in the past with his, because Julian is one of these people who will fight. It just seems as though he'll fight anyone and everyone at the drop of a hat. And it's, from my perspective, I've seen Julian way back when you were sort of sparring and fighting out of Bullmush Boxing Club. Yeah, and all the way through to Old Man Boxing and all shows, every show from South Morton to you guys to everywhere, and most recently being obviously England Boxing registered coach and now coaching, everyone and anyone as well. So it's but when did you start? Because I like I said, going back 10 years or so, I remember you were fighting then. But
so I got into boxing purely, I was running a lot, just as something to do to keep fit. Running got boring, walked in the boxing gym, become the punch bag of Bullmush for probably about six to 8 months before I met Tommy. Tommy took me under his wing and just taught me the basics, which I think anyone getting into boxing's got to know. If you don't know how to defend yourself, you're going to keep you in the punch bag. And then as things progressed, we sort of entered into the white collar world where we met Mr. Loveday and put me out for my first bout. And it all sort of took off from there, really. Like I said, without blokes like Rich putting on the shows he's putting on, there wouldn't have been an avenue for me to fall into fighting, because I felt like probably too old for the amateur route at like 27, 28. I mean, it's still time, but with someone who's got no boxing experience, I don't see how that would have been an option. But once I got a taste of the white collar world, I loved it. Like Rich knows how to make you feel special. I
think, do you know what? And we'll touch on that as well later on. I think there's an element of that where the whole promotion element of it makes fighters feel like you're a professional. I mean, we
100%.
And we come to when Rob fought. For those of you who don't know this, but Rob and Danny, great friends, and decided to fight each other as well on a big show. But the whole pomp and ceremony behind it, in terms of obviously the promotion leading up to it, press conferences, but even your walk-on music, Rob, with the army influence there as well, was it's you feel as though you're at a professional event. And like I said, we'll touch on that. And I think this is obviously reintroducing Rob, who was here with the first episode. Rob, you are, from my perspective, and a lot of the people in the gym and around this, I think you mentioned legend, because you genuinely defy everything in terms of, you defy just everything. You know, if you don't mind me asking you, how old are you now, Rob?
I'm approaching 60.
How close are you approaching 60, Rob?
6 months off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Rob
60.
is still an active fighter. That's the amazing thing.
Out
And
again in
incredible.
Out and again in a few months.
yeah, and going again.
Yeah. I think
And like Julian, though, but there's a love for it. I mean, it's not a love of getting smashed around. There's something else there that you.
Yeah, do you know, and I said this in the first episode, I said, you know, for me, the society is a society, it's a community within itself. And I look at, you know, I draw on yesterday, probably one of the worst sessions I think I've ever had, you know, sort of. I think you lost count, and you obviously got the hump halfway through and added a few extra rounds, but you looked at you got Stuart, you've got Dan here as well, and obviously, you know, Jules was here. You know, the motivation to push me to that extra little percentage, you know, to keep me going to the end was there. And I think without people like that in the gym, you're never going to sort of, you know, it doesn't matter how motivated you are, you're never going to achieve that unless you've got people pushing you. And I think the whole white collar community, especially the people around this conversation today, are all part of that. You know, when you look at, you know, that sort of that ownership, that being part of something, you know. And I think, you know, the night that I fought Danny, you know, what a fantastic event. You know, lost and got schooled, but, you know, sort of that's boxing for you. But I mean, the actual event itself, you know, and thanks to Tank, we raised, you know, for both charities, we've raised a phenomenal amount of money, which wouldn't have been possible. And you look, and I think you'll probably touch on this, but if you look at the white collar scene itself, there's not many promoters that actually sort of are transparent in relation to fighters actually being able to raise, you know, what you would call dedicated funds. It always seems a bit cloudy for me.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, you know, certainly on Tank's show, it's very transparent. I think anyone wanting to embark upon the charity aspects gets massive exposure, and of course, you know, able to raise funds as a result of it, which is.
And I think it's interesting. So even going back to white collar fighting and kind of the history behind white collar fighting, and obviously it came out of, I think it was New York, wasn't it? It was at the Gleason gym, I think, way back, where white collar workers, you know, the Wall Street boys decided that I think it was an accountant and a lawyer, decided they're going to have a fight. And it was, you know, it's obviously unlicensed, it was unsanctioned, it was nothing, you know, but away they went, and it kind of snowballed from there. I know there was some English promoter brought a load of Wall Street boys over in London and did it. And for those of people who aren't aware of where white collar boxing fits in, it's not licensed. And again, going back to this unlicensed thing, it just means it's not licensed by a sanctioning body. So
there's no one governing it.
There's no governing, yeah. And this is the interesting thing, and this is where I think this is great to get your perspective from this, because when you go into something that's unlicensed, there's trepidation. You think, well, you know, where's my safety? Where's the safeguarding? Where's you know, how am I going to be protected by this? And you touched on this before. When you're in a gym, and in a good gym, who are training you, and they're competent, well-organised coaches, facilities, and they prepare you correctly. Me and Jules have talked endlessly about this, and the other coaches, is you should be preparing a fighter, irrespective of whether this is an unlicensed white-collar fight or they're going into an amateur fight or even a professional. The approach should be the same, so that they're getting a true boxing experience and they're feeling confident. And then when you go to a show, you're going to a show which is something that you're confident with the promoters and the setup and everything. So we love doing these shows with you guys, because you're comfortable in the matchups, which is another thing I'm going to come to. But matchups is one of the key things as well. Sometimes it's difficult. You guys are trying to matching people through sketchy videos of somebody sparring in a horse stable, I think, was one of the ones that said.
I got some. I can take some horse.
Yeah.
It falls down onto the promoters. They'll put it. It falls down to the coaches then to advocate for their boxers and just be strict. 100%. If you've got a dodgy sparring video coming, we've had a few conversations where I'm saying they're having a laugh with that, aren't they? And then it's down to just stand in your ground, be like, nah, I can't either get some more footage or I can't have that.
Yeah. I think that's where, like you said, it falls. The coach is responsible for their fighter.
Absolutely.
You ain't responsible for the other fighter and what they're doing. You're responsible for your fighter. So if you've got a match that you're confident in your fighter, then as far as your coach, that's your coach's job done. Yeah. Some of these lads on the white collar scene, they haven't really got coaches. Like the ones that, like, you've had it where they turn up at shows. You're like, where's your corner, man?
Which then does fall on your shoulders, I suppose. It falls on the promoter's shoulders to. If you you call them an independent boxer, so they're not from a gym. They might flitter from other gyms or stuff, but then they ain't got no one advocating for them other than a good promoter or a bad promoter. And if it's a good promoter, he doesn't want to see someone taken advantage of and hurt in the ring. Because it's going to affect his future shows or his reputation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's a massive part of it. And
in my opinion, I think if you're going to box on any of these shows, you should be associated to a gym. I don't think these freelancers should be boxing on shows.
What Graham was saying, it's evolved. So when I started, you mentioned in white collar, the tradition. My very first show, we're all beginners. I didn't have one person that had a previous fight. Very unique. I had like 16 bouts. So I had a doorman versus a doorman, a bricklayer versus a ground worker, a barman versus a barman. I tried to do it with people in the same line of work. That's where I got that from. Again, I brought back to how I started. Swindon had a very good professional. There was a professional promoter called Keith Mayer. And he run the pro shows there, and I was doing the security work there, and I thought, I like this. I like the way this is set up. And then obviously the Nielsen's were doing white collar. Now Mark Nielsen now is a professional promoter, and he's doing shows at York Hall. He's doing shows everywhere, and he's working in conjunction with the big promoters like your Queensbury and Matchrooms. And so I took bits from people that I used to aspire to, and when I used to box myself and travel around, and I've just taken bits and bits and bits and bits.
I think that's a good. I mean, the good thing is you're taking sort of multifaceted experience. And what I mean is, like you say, you're not looking at it just from both because obviously, Danny, you put shows on as well. But you've been a boxer, you've been a coach, you've been a promoter. You can suddenly you see, for instance, you can see things like the organisation of it. Making sure that people, got your runners behind the scenes, making sure people are, in place, and they've got changing rooms. I mean, I know that's fun and games. I've seen that.
Just going back to you're right. So when I started, people weren't really part of boxing gyms, and we mentioned about with our type of box, it's evolved. It's evolved where I will only now predominantly deal with people that are part of gyms, like coaches, and have that relationship. I mean, there's some boxers that on my next card coming up that, I will go and drive 2 hours to go and visit them myself. Yeah. If I've got a video sent to me, I've been doing this a long time. I'll come and see you training. I don't need to do that.
No.
But I do it.
Yeah.
And
I think that's part of the, and that's good because that is part of that experience that you're setting up. It's good fighters know that there is sort of a pre-fight care and attention, and you always, we always discuss and talk after fights and shows and seeing how people are. You're always, very, very good at, contacting us, seeing if people who fought on the shows, are they okay, they're feeling good, etc. and so on. And I think that that experience, that experience, as you said, everything's evolved now, and it's getting to that point where look at the crowds you pull in.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go on that. These are big crowds that come in and watch these shows. You can go to York Hall and you can see that place half empty on a pro fight, and thinking, hold on a second, these guys are professional fighters, and not getting anywhere near the sort of showcase, if you like, that you're putting on for these things.
Which white collar offers, because going down the amateur route, 39's your cut off.
Yeah.
Going down, professional route is you need to be kind of high profile. You need to be able to sell a lot of tickets. I mean, the money side in pro isn't as glamorous as it looks on TV.
Some of them get paid.
Some of them don't even, yeah. And so you got to build yourself up. Whereas what's great about white collar is you can have a 40-year-old man bucket list, I want to have a fight.
Yeah.
If he's going to the right gym, he's going to train hard for 10, 12 weeks. He's going to be, if he's in the right gym and if he's being looked after, he'll be matched with another novice boxer that wants to have a fight, maybe raising awareness for something or charity or something. And it's fair, but white collar gives you the opportunities for someone that's been boxing for years, for someone that's ex-pro, for someone that there's no cut off. There's no you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Open to all. Gives
It's
everyone
open
the
to
opportunity.
every single
off air, don't we? Like boxing is for everybody.
One of the most, like, it gave me chills watching Little Tank. 2 lads with cerebral palsy.
Yes.
Boxed.
Fantastic. That was
What a
amazing
fight, and like they were proud of themselves, and like I was proud just watching them, and it was like amazing. They got standing ovation in that fight, didn't they? And it was like
real lump on the throat moment, wasn't it?
That isn't happening.
And do you know what? Good fight.
That isn't happening.
It felt a good little performance. I thought it was brilliant stuff. Yeah,
that isn't happening in the amateurs.
That's the beauty about it. And it's that I think this is where white collar kind of now raises its head. And I think there's certainly the England boxing and the amateur game at the moment should start to take a little bit of a look at some good white collar organisations and how it's done.
I mean, I'm sure you're a good gym. You've got some good fighters in there. I know we've had it. How many have you had amateur gym come to you for sparring?
Well, we've got.
We have.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Scouts Lane Boxing associated with us. We do have some of the amateur boys, but the trouble is getting. It's blimey. There's an element of snobbery in sport and in England boxing.
We've had amateur gyms come to us for sparring because there's so many rules and regulations they've got to follow for sparring.
A lot of red tape, isn't it?
A lot of red tape. Whereas they come to a white collar gym, they know they're going to get some good quality rounds.
Do you know what? Funny enough, I mean, Julian spars regularly with a couple of the young lads in the England boxing, and they both get fantastic sparring. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, otherwise it's question
they're not allowed to do it. Yeah. They're not supposed to do it. And so, but I think they are. I think, like you just started to touch on, they're coming round to it. I think so.
I mean, you should again. It's eliminating the snobbery, and we'll talk about the dispelling the myths of it. But this kind of snobbery that's involved ultimately is if it's a safe environment and it's a good entertaining show. I mean, you know, we hark back to Rob's fights. They're never a dull fight. I mean, it's always something happening, but that's entertainment, and people pay for it, pay a ticket.
And he's come out safe every single
time. I think exactly that, because Rob.
Well,
Rob might disagree with you there. Yeah. Tracy might disagree too.
Did you see what you did to him?
says the man that nearly blinded me.
But again, it's the legacy of, I think, your training regime, because you don't go into it. None of it. I mean, these guys are, they're professional in their approach, and probably this is where
you have to be.
Yeah, I think.
And as a coach, you've got to make sure the boxers are taking that attitude.
100%. I mean,
my lot, if they pull out of, if they don't do a run or they get a little telling off, but if it happens on the following week, I'll pull their fight. I won't do a fight.
The thing
they don't turn up for sparring, they don't get to fight. They don't turn up for just drills and skill sessions. They don't get to fight.
Well, this is like what we go through when we're putting fighters out from our gym. I'd say 90% of the people going out are there doing the graft, putting the work in. Every now and then you will get one, and we'll be watching, we're thinking, he's not doing his runs, he's not doing his work. And then you start having the discussions, are we going to let him represent our gym?
100%. We've always had that discussion. We're happy, and probably Danny, same thing for you. Is it's not only you want that person to be safe and enjoy that experience and develop, and it could be their first fight, it could be their 21st fight, or whatever it is, but you also, there's an element of reputation from our perspective, from a coaching perspective, and I do not want an underprepared fight. I mean, we kind of pride ourselves, our fighters, in that we don't let people go onto a show unless they've sparred 80 rounds. 80 rounds plus in training camp. That's what we want. We don't let them go. And if they can't, they're not sparring 80 rounds for one reason or another. We think they're underprepared, first of all, from a sparring perspective. But now we're adding elements to it, because with Stuart, who is, nutritional expert as well. He does strength and conditioning coaching as well. So we put people on programs for that. Like you were saying, skills drills and things like that. You've got to go through it. You've got to do these things. Plus, the fighters who want to fight will suddenly go, can I get extra sessions? Can I do one-to-ones?
We've got Jamie at the gym, massive part of the Coliseum from day one. He's strength and conditioning coach, nutritional. I love the nutrition side of things as well, and like it's
part of it,
very important.
Yeah. And this is it. You're creating a professional experience, but all the way through, it is a professional experience. The only thing that's missing is the license part of it. I'm gonna kind of flick a bit as well, because we've had experiences, I don't know, where we were involved in ultra white collar. So the ultra white collar boxing organisation came to us. What was it, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. Came to Dan Eden, the gym owner, and said, we need a Reading facility to coach and train. I genuinely think that half the reason was because we had quite a big facility to accommodate these people, and we had the coaches. So we went along with it, etc. And I'm saying I don't want to sort of call people out and point fingers in certain directions, but the interesting thing is you guys touched on your charity work, and you're raising charity. You're raising a lot of funds and a lot of money for charities close to your heart, etc. And it's good, because that's the motivator, and I think that's brilliant. Ultra white collar boxing, it does go under the guise of we work with cancer research, and we're going to put on a show, and it's 8 weeks training. You get trained, and this, that, and the other. And we're all, well, this is great. We can develop people. There's some people, and we've had people who jumped in. Cameron Pridham,
yes,
ultra white collar boxer. This
fantastic boxer.
Yeah, I mean, great kid, great boxer. 18 years old, he turned, and he went into this charity fight, and he won. He fought against an ex-amateur champion in his first fight, because it's the only people we can match him up with. And then he sort of progressed from there. But I think we set it up, and we thought this is the way we're going to do it. Is we're going to bring all these people in. They're going to love boxing, and etc. It was a bit of it. It wasn't as positive experience as that. We had some positive experiences, but I think as it went along, we thought this is a great organisation, and it's organised, and this is that and the other. And as you go along, and from our coaching perspective, you realise that there's safety elements that are
come about that. It was all about that to
100%.
the organisers of rather than the safety, and then getting pressured to put matches on. It was.
This is why I said about you matching is great, wasn't it? We had a situation where we're going, well, this guy is 30 stone, and he's sold 5 tables on this charity event. 30 stone though, and he couldn't last a session. He did probably 4 weeks training. He couldn't last a session, and we repeatedly said to the organisers, he can't fight. He shouldn't be fighting. It's dangerous. Yeah. It's really, really dangerous for him to fight, and he won't make the medical. Yeah. And he sold 50 tickets. We've got to get him out. He's got to fight. And guess what? He never made the medical. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a situation, we've had one guy had a heart attack in the lobby after his fight. And from our perspective, going back to the normal white collar stuff, we would prepare these people to the nth degree, so they can last 3 rounds, and fight effectively. But this situation, it got really, really unsafe, and it's kind of like, this is why we're not being involved with this, because we become liable for it. we signed the document saying, we've got liability for some of this, and it was on that basis, wasn't it?
I think as well, look, with the ultra white collar, I don't know how big it was down in Swindon or whatever, but we're white collar boxers, white collar boxing promoters, whatever. You've got the ultra white collar, which people associate the two together. Like when people say, "Oh, you do a bit of boxing? Well, what are you, amateur, pro?" Like, "Oh, I do white collar." "Oh yeah, my auntie Sheila done one of them." So that's where the unlicensed term comes. We think, "No, I'm an unlicensed boxer." It sounds harder, doesn't it? Yeah, but people associate the two together, and it's that ultra white it's like a one-off experience for your auntie Karen or Dave the library, whoever. Like whereas white collar, like that you guys do, that we do, I'd say like it's a good standard. It's a more
and every year, every show we go to, the standards just keep rising. The standard of the boxes you're seeing are just rising, and like obviously you've got some big white collar promotions going now. What's Darren Till's Gorilla? Is it?
Gorilla.
So,
I mean, it's not that Darren Till's the face. This is, I'll say this. People think it's Darren. Darren Till doesn't sit there on the phone organising.
No. Of course, he's got a team. But what I mean is,
but Gorilla is they got the broadcasters.
It's the big. It's white collar though.
Yes,
that is white collar.
Well, it's like
it's. You could go as far as saying there's some of the fights that get on there aren't anywhere near as prepared as serious white collar boxing gyms.
I think so. I mean, we did the Quest recently with Alex Kamara.
Good outfit, yeah.
And again, quality is so impressive. And a testimony to you, because we were saying there's an awful lot of parallels in the setup and how it's run backstage and everything like that. Absolutely. There's some great parallels between your organisation as well. But again, what we're noticing is quality, as you said, Danny, the quality of fighters that are coming up. And I think as well, these guys, testimony to these guys is they want to keep going and fighting, and we were always trying to improve them from a coaching perspective. And you're not just going out to tick the box, are you? It's going out and going, right, I want to improve, I want to be a better fighter for this one. Yeah. Age is irrespective of age, it's just constant evolving from that aspect. I keep barking orders in Rob's ear about doing things and thinking, should I be doing this? Rob's got more experience than even I have. Bless him, he's going, yeah, all right, I'll do it.
Big part of that, though, is everyone needs to be watched. Everyone needs to be looked at. It's like when I coaching everyone at the Coliseum, and I've got active fight teams and stuff like that, but I need coaching still. I'm telling someone to keep their guard up, and I need someone to tell me if my guard's dropping.
100%.
100%. And I go and see certain people, and they're telling me what I'm doing wrong, because everyone makes mistakes. Yeah. Everyone needs coaching, don't they?
Exactly that, and I think also that's where, in most boxing gyms, egos have got to be left outside.
I'm glad you said it. When you walk through our door, there's one poster that said, "Leave your ego at the door."
Yeah, that's true.
That's the first thing you read when you walk in the gym.
If you think you know it all, then you ain't gonna.
You don't last.
Yeah,
if you're in a good gym, someone with an ego don't last. They don't. 2-3 sessions, they won't come back again.
That's
they
where
feel out of place with a lot of boxers that have got no egos.
Yeah, but this is it. You stand out like a sore thumb because it's.
Yeah. Well, this is where it needs a level of regulation, because you look at sort of, I know obviously, Coliseum run their own shows. I know exactly what Tank does, because obviously I helped Tank when he did obviously the first Reading Rumble. When you look at his event risk assessment, and I sort of opened my eyes up to the work that he puts into it. And you think that he's self-regulating to ensure, number one, ensure his brand, because obviously he's a business, but number two, to ensure the safety of boxers. So you think that if he's doing that, and likewise yourself and other promoters self-regulating, then why can't whether you want to call it is an industry, because it's getting massive now. When you look at the influencer side of boxing and everything else, there should be a level of regulation there that people, when they go to the gym, have got to do a medical declaration. Which do at every gym. Sort of like, go and see your doctor. If you're 40 years old, it's a good idea to go and see your doctor and say, I'd like to, can you give me a check over, because I'd like to embark upon.
You're on first name terms with your doctor, then, aren't you?
Yeah,
So we got members, nurses and stuff like that, and we've caught we've caught people with high blood pressure, like they're none the wiser. They're coming and they're training and boxing. It's like, oh, well, I wouldn't mind doing a bit of sparring. And again, they've already signed their medical forms and stuff, but they fancy trying a bit of sparring. But before anyone spars, they have to have a medical.
Yeah.
And then we've caught high blood pressure. We've caught pre-diabetics, type 2 diabetes. We've caught, and that's through them being having medicals in a boxing gym.
And I think I think, Rob, you're right. I think is there at a point now that the popularity's got, because what you end up doing is you're going to get people going like, this is popular. You're pulling in, I don't know, how many people on average at the Mecca show would you say turn up? It's
You could get up to 1,000 people.
Yeah. So you're going, putting in 1,000 people, big show, it's being filmed, there's commentary, this, that, and the other. And there's probably people going, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. We put on that. We'll put this, that.
People
And then,
try.
I know, and this is the worrying thing is there's, like you say, there's an element of, from our perspective, I think, because we the fighters are at the forefront of our mind in terms of it's their safety, etc., etc. So we've always got that level of governance and that sort of almost like a bit of compliance, isn't it? But I think sometimes it's the certain people will go, yeah, we'll put on a show. I've got a facility here. I've got a field here. I'll put a mark here. I'll do this, that, and the other. And that's the worry about it. Is suddenly something horribly goes wrong. And this is where ultra white collar boxing fell flat on its face because there was a death last year. I think
there's been many deaths and probably not been documented as much. But going back to, let's be real, boxing is a business.
Yeah.
All right, now, with your perspectives as coaches and gym members and fighters, I have to look at the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know? So with ultra white collar, the gentleman that sold a lot of tickets. Now, to me, you mentioned about me phoning about after, box today, okay. I also do call, how many tickets are they selling? Like, Julian would be, he'd know this, and Danny himself. I've got to look at everything, on a financial point of view, on a boxer's point of view, on a coach's point of view. There's all these elements I need to take into consideration. But with ultra white collar, and we don't want to be too negative because there has been good stories out of there. There's also been some horror stories. But when I see, they came to Swindon, so when I see their management rocking up in Range Rovers, and I'm thinking, gosh, that's a good little number. And I see why they're rocking up in Range Rovers, and only a percentage of that money will probably go to cancer research.
This is,
Big percentage of money doesn't go to cancer research, but we're not here to talk about that.
Here we are, Rich. So I don't mind.
Well, the cat's out of the
Obviously,
bag
with
now.
boxers, individuals, I will encourage a boxer to create their own, whether it's a GoFundMe or just giving. That will go directly to that charity.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give it to Rich Loveday.
That's why
don't trust me with the money.
That's the way I started. For our charity that we ran, it was never about money. We weren't actually. I said to you, I don't really. Rich sort of like touched on it. Weren't about raising funds. It was raising awareness.
Yeah.
We wanted to raise awareness, and that was what my first fight on Tanks was all about. It was a raising awareness, and I think it might have been Tank that said about get a GoFundMe page going, and then so we did, and it just built.
Snowball.
More fights carried on, and more money, and then my boxers then started taking on board the link and fighting for that, and so that's where that kind of went.
Yeah.
But, in terms,
I think, and that's the power. I think again, this is the power of the white collar scene. You're not really getting this from a professional or an amateur perspective. It's genuinely all about the boxing, and I get it. Professional, amateurs, this is there, but I think from a white collar perspective, there's so many other facets and elements to it that are so. How can I put it? They're great stories, and it's impacting lives. That is not just boxing, but it's boxing that's driving this sort of thing.
And white collar boxing isn't just about the fighting either.
No,
I've got so many members that don't fight.
It's a community, isn't it? It's a family.
Some of the stories, non-competitive stories, I could tell you, are just phenomenal. It's like on the medical front, you've like reversing type 2 diabetes through fitness, people losing lots of weight. You've got sleep apnea, gone. You've got Yeah, just phenomenal stories. Like,
How many people do you have come through your door that
yeah.
like they come in and all they, I just want to hit the bag, I want to get fit, and then as it progresses, all of a sudden they want to get,
like
yeah,
they're on the bag and watching sparring. Like,
and then you're just watching them just.
and then suddenly they sort of like turn in and they're not in a bag anymore, and then they turn up that 1 week with a gum shield. It's like, have a go.
Yeah,
That's the disparity, though, isn't it, between the experience and maybe the one-time experience, which is a bad experience, because then people sign up to that. Yeah, you know, I'm going to do a bit of charity fundraising, get mismatched, don't get trained, don't get invested in, and actually have a really bad experience. And you know, you hear of a horror. I think one of the guys at the gym, you know, he ended up fighting. You know, it was never. His opponent never fought in a boxing match before, but had something like 22 kickboxing fights that he hadn't declared. So obviously, you know, this poor lad that got in, you know, thinking he's going to fight a complete novice, you know, absolutely got battered for 3 rounds, and that sort of put him off the aspect. And then again, being in a gym where you're on equal balance with good coaches and people trying to enhance and embrace your journey for you, rather than taking liberties, you know, sort of, you drop your guard, bang, you know, sort of, you know, it's you know, and I think, you know, and even, you know, last year when I was prepping with Jules trying to get me to improve my defence, you know, there's sort of loads of times where he could have clumped me with a right hand, but he's just tapping me and saying, "Come on, Clarky, hands up," rather, you know, it's still at my age. So I think it is all about that ownership, and I think that's where it comes down. You know, go back to ownership, duty of care. You know,
I think so.
The promoter's duty of care. You know, you think, because it's not going away, is it? You know, this white collar's not going away. No.
It's that creep. You got boxers creeping into the pros now from white collar.
Well, I was going to say we can make that point of Mr. Wardley. Obviously, from a white collar perspective, I mean that's
look at the height he's reached.
I mean that's quite a phenomenal. And again, breaking down that horrible, almost snobbery and almost elitism stigma that is white collars are. You know, it's just people swinging away and
fuggery sort of.
Yeah,
I think it's the thing, isn't it? Because you look at. You know, I will use Tank as the example because, as I said earlier, you know, I know exactly what he does. Security. You know, you look at how sort of people invest in security, and we've all been to shows where, you know, it's been non-existent, and as a result of it being non-existent, too much testosterone, too much alcohol. You know, everyone getting a little bit upset because the results haven't gone the right way. It's not been controlled, and what people don't understand is that, you know, and some wannabe promoters don't understand, that then actually impacts upon the wider community of white collar because that venue suddenly becomes blacklisted.
And this is the problem we had in Reading.
Yeah.
There aren't venues in Reading who want to put us in.
We're talking about stories. I want to just go back. Talking about not stories, sorry. Well, it's a good story. You know, Mr. Clark, you know, when I wouldn't have thought when I was working for you all those years ago that, you know, we ended up doing a boxing show together, and obviously Rob got me into Reading, and what a place, you know, and I will be back. I will make sure I get back.
Yeah.
But you know, joking aside, we had some successful events in Reading. Unfortunately, you know, events happened after, and situations happened, but that's past, and you know, it's some of that you mentioned we pride myself on, but I wanted to talk about Rob, because Rob, you know, what you're doing is absolutely amazing, and you know, something that, and I've always done it over the time, but what this man has done for boxing and for the charities close to your heart, and we're not just talking about, you know, the amount of money, because it's an incredible amount of money over various shows that you've, thanks to you, and I just need to mention that on this podcast, because Rob has always said to me, "Oh, but Rich, it's thanks to you. Well, you're the one getting in the ring. You're the one, you know, I'm not putting my life in danger."
No, but you offer the platform.
Credit where credit's due, and I'm just wondering, there's other people, because of you, it's snowballed to other boxers do things for charities, and I remember we did Reading, there was a friend of yours, I believe, is no longer with us, and I think yourself and Mr. Sims did for Mind, was it Mind? Or no, Campaign Against Living Miserably, that's correct. You know, so you guys did, you know, raised you a bit of money there, and it just goes to show that it's not just about boxers that want to be professional or go on. And I know we've already touched on boxing's for everybody, people with disabilities, and that's where the matchmaking comes in. I mean, we mentioned Little Tank. He's actually a bit of a plot here. He's actually on in Salisbury on the 20th of June, by the way. But he's in against an able-bodied man. Now, you know, have I made a mistake here? I've made many mistakes over the years. But I am, you know, I was in the gym this morning, funny enough, and he was there.
Yeah.
That man's working very hard.
And if I think that's the thing, is you're making that judgment call based on you visiting fighters, you got credible coaches that are giving you that feedback.
And medically, there's no reason he's not.
Medically, he can fight.
This is another important side.
I think anyone, even someone able-bodied, right? Listen, if you don't want to get wet, don't go swimming. I think that's a common thing. But boxing, we can't just take part.
Don't play boxing.
It's a serious sport. Hence, all these elements we spoke about, you know, great coaching, people, you know, are they in good condition? Are they healthy? Can you pass a medical? You could pass a medical and you could be the fittest man. You get hit on the temple and you might not be talking the next day. So there's all the, but this is what, anything, life is dangerous, right?
And there's I think the thing is, and I think the key thing is with boxing, certainly in the white collar world, there's risk and there's sort of calculated risk. And you manage that risk. Everything we do
is trying to lower those risks.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm gonna because I'm very conscious that time is ticking on, and but I wanted to just touch on. And I always call it the wonderful, weird world of white collar, because there are some funny things that go on behind the scenes in some of these shows. We've witnessed some. I mean, we talked about shows in Reading where things have kicked off. I mean, we've been on a show where we're warming people up and a fire extinguisher's flown over the top of our head in the changing room, and various things like that.
Clark, you got a bit of previous with fire extinguishers. Was he not?
He loves a fire extinguisher.
Actually, that was in the sun, and I'm making no comment. I can neither confirm nor deny.
I think I was videoing that night, and I don't want to sort of mention names, but it was one crowd versus another crowd, and then they end up all getting in the ring, and next thing I knew, Mr. Clark had a fire extinguisher, and everyone just had like white faces. But I was, instead of using my security head, I was enjoying myself videoing.
But it did diffuse the situation.
It did diffuse it.
Worked.
People were just walking around.
It worked.
It was crazy.
It worked. But that was a prime example, unfortunately, of bad event management. Could have
been prevented. It could have been muted.
But it goes back to this point of, for me, of sort of whether it's, there's got to be a benefit for you as a proper promoter. You've got to get some benefit from doing things the way you do things, and likewise everyone else that needs to set that bar. So that obviously with the gyms, so if your fighters coming on board that have gone through a fight camp, that there's got to be, the Boxing Association, Boxing England, whoever, there's got to be some sort of recognition for people that do things the right way. So that whether that be you've got an event certificate for you as a promoter that says that Tank Promotions does 20 things. And
certified, is that what you're
Yeah, certification. Yeah,
it's interesting. There are people trying to do this, by the way. So many people don't know, but Tank Promotions was founded by the man behind Southwest Media, alongside myself, obviously. Me and Ben Fitch founded Tank Promotions.
Okay.
And Ben...
It would need to be someone like Ben.
But he organises UK white-collar boxing. So you see these different pages, UK white-collar boxing services, UK white-collar boxing matchmaking, and UK white-collar boxing is just general. And he's got a ranking system. That's all. We're going into a real big world now. But what Ben is trying to do is to govern.
And I think this is it. I think it's good. I mean, that's fantastic. I think it's time now. Yeah. You like you say, the popularity is it's greater and greater and greater. The quality is getting better. The quality of the shows, everything, and it's at that point. I think you need a governance system in place and a singular. I mean, even you're looking at the professional bodies. even the separate professional bodies
Yeah.
that are operating here, there, and everywhere, certainly on a world level, and they almost operate to separate rules some of the times now.
Yeah.
So even that, I suppose that area is diversifying somewhat,
Well,
and it's
martial arts do that, don't they? You know, kickboxing, karate,
Yeah.
taekwondo. They're part of different organisations.
Yeah.
It can get very cloudy.
Yeah, I think so.
Boxing's the same.
And it does.
Boxing, you know, you can go and get a professional licence tomorrow.
Yeah.
I see some of these guys can't even do 2-round sparring. They're fighting professional in Germany.
I know.
What the
And you can
hell's
go
that?
and get and this is it. You can go and get
Mickey
go and
Mouse
get your
Pro
license
licenses,
anywhere
yeah.
you want, sort of thing. I know that's terrible. I mean, like I said, we've been backstage, obviously, at lots of shows, and it's real sort of it's the sort of the thrashing legs underneath the water, and everything seems nice and calm on top. 'Cause it goes really well.
Yeah.
I mean, must admit, you know, we know what change rooms to be in, and these are the small little things which are, from our perspective, from a coach's perspective and fighters, it's one less thing to worry about. Do you know what I mean? You know where you should be. Somebody comes and gets you, checks your gloves, everything. That's great.
The last thing a boxer needs is any stress on fight day.
100%.
And when you go to a well-run show,
And I think
it's brilliant.
it is, isn't it?
The experience
Yeah.
is brilliant. You said earlier on they almost feel like a pro for the night. It's all about them.
Yeah.
Everything's about them.
It's
And
about
like
the
a
boxers.
good run show,
Yeah.
it is all about the boxer.
And it is, and that encourages them to come back. I mean, me and Jules were chuckling about this the other day. We've been in shows that wasn't even one of yours, Rich. It was another show where boxers have turned up with no boxing shoes.
Yes.
When entered a ring in a pair of loafers, I believe at one point.
I've seen a boxer fight in a pair of jeans.
Yes, I mean, gee, and you're thinking,
It's
I
on
mean,
my show, eh?
but and again,
Was-
but it's again, it's you people in the corners suddenly. You know, it's
I want to also say about like, I don't class myself as a promoter in the slightest. And when people ask me about fighting on the show, I'm not a promoter at all. I'm a coach. It's a gym, and we run home shows. And it wasn't even on my radar to do it. It was him. And he said, "You got to put on a show. You got to put on a show." And in the end, I did. So what I did was pay this man to put on my show. And pretty much the first one, you took the reins, and because come fight day, yeah, I get involved and I do all the organising, blah, 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 blah. But come fight day, I'm working the corner.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. And
This man's
that's-
running around still doing what he does on his own shows.
yeah.
So it's because of a good promoter, who's got 12 years experience, that make my shows safe, that make my shows amazing. And like the first thing on the list is security, medics. They're the first things. Who's the medic?
Yeah.
Who's the medic? Who's the medic? Who's the security? They're the first things, and it's like doesn't matter. Almost doesn't matter how much it costs. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Fight
yeah.
safety, crowd safety, and then when these shows are so well run and no trouble, you get away boxes, away gyms. Can I fight on your show?
That's it.
Can I?
Yeah.
And then you not only they're also like they don't even. The first word that comes out the mouth isn't purse. What's the purse? It's I want to fight on your show.
Yeah.
Because the shows are so good.
Yeah.
And like so
I think
if someone at the helm was experienced governing or have some sort of oversight for these shows that you're trying to sort of like
I think it's a
it would need to be. It would need to be someone like that, and that's why I said Ben Fitch would be amazing. Because
think
Ben
so.
Fitch isn't in it for the wrong reasons.
No. I think, and again, I think that's the thing is it's he's like you said, he's been there from day one.
Yes, he's Ben. He's an ex-pro boxer, ex-pro boxer. I think that's a guest for Ben Fitch. You're going to be on the next podcast. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's but again, the whole, like I say, it is a weird world. There are some weird and wonderful stories, some fantastic characters in white collar world. I mean, you have your regular in, is it
Mateo.
Matteo Malecki, yeah.
Matteo Malecki. He's
His character.
he's entertainment in itself. But again, he's
You know what's interesting? People can't work the man out. Now, I can't work him out, but he's a nice man.
Yeah.
His English isn't maybe the best, so how he maybe communicates or writes comments on certain posts, and people do take offence to that. And one thing we probably not touched on is with the boxing, you've got to be in this industry. On my point of view, you've got to be quite thick-skinned. You know, the stuff that's happened over the years from you cannot do a show in this town. I'm coming to your. I want 50% of your money. I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to do it. It's crazy. Phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, and but we don't want to go into those sort of stories right now. But Matteo Malecki is definitely one of those characters I love.
He's brilliant. I think
Some people don't like him, you know. Some people who are quite influential within our realm of boxing mock the man, and I don't think you can mock anybody in this.
If you're stepping, listen. If you're stepping through those ropes and you're putting yourself out there, irrespective, and the thing is, I know it's boxing, but it's an entertainment industry.
Exactly.
You are entertaining now, irrespective of whether or not it's extremely violent entertainment, but it is. You're entertaining, and given that it might well be that Matteo's not technically the greatest boxer in the world, but God, he puts a show on.
He is
and
entertaining.
some of the best haven't got him out.
He is entertaining when he
He's
walks.
fought everyone.
I was going to say some of the guys that he's
Can't
fought.
get him out.
I mean,
He's fought the elite.
he's fought some of the top fellas, hasn't he? You know, and it's sort of that itself is eye-watering when you look at it. You look at the matchup and you think, oh, that's not going to go well.
I won't mention any names either, but I've seen him fight big names and won and not get the decision. 100% he's won that fight. If I was judging, he'd have won that fight.
I think he's a boxer's worst nightmare because he's so unorthodox. It's like you don't know where the punches are coming from. You know?
Oh, they're coming from the floor.
But you say about the entertainment, when he walks through the door, even when he leaves, you know, he's even, bless him, I think my last show, you know, when he goes to shows away, he sleeps in change rooms and gyms.
Oh, does he?
He's a member of a 24-hour gym, so he will clock in and sleep. So I put him up in a Premier Inn, you know. I think I think the ring girl didn't take the room, so I said, mate, get yourself in there, lad. No, I need to take off his next. So bless him. Matteo Malecki, this is for you.
Legend.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, listen, we're going to kind of tie things up now. So I want to say just a massive thank you for you guys to come over because taking time out on a Sunday to come and chat about this. But it's been brilliant, really good, great stories, really good insight. And again, we'll be getting you on further down the line for more chats.
I've got a lot more stories, Graham.
I want a late night episode. Nitty and gritty and Rich Love Day.
Over 18.
Yeah.
But thank you, Old Man Boxing Society.
No,
And
pleasure.
I need to say, just before you cut me off, is thank you personally because you have been an influential, pivotal part to success of my events. You know, with your boxers. I know you've got your team, you've got your men. Dan and Stu in the background, you've got the two gentlemen next to you, and there's others that probably aren't here with us now. I know it's a team effort. Big up, Old Man Boxing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think it's again we use the phrase community, we use it society, community, and I think from our perspective, all of us, like say with Danny's gym and the likes of the South Morton setups and so on. I think there is a sense of a good community. Where we kind of, we try and help each other, work with each other,
We're very fortunate. There's a good in the counties, neighbouring counties, are very reputable gyms, and
I think this is
good for me.
I was going to say this, and it's just power to. It's good that you're kind of at the pinnacle. And we all sort of work in your shows, etc. And I think as it grows, we all grow together with it, and we've got the right. I think we've all got the right approach to it. I think
good to have them gyms on the circuit, isn't it? And
absolutely, yeah. And I think
being a part of that circuit, you know people. They're from Old Man Boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, they're from Ricky's gym. Oh, South Morton.
Yeah.
It's like it's good. You're dealing with
credible people, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. And if there's going to be, it's a good. Like I said, I think it's just a good community and. Power to it, and long may it rain. I think it's been brilliant. So thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you on in the near future, undoubtedly. Certainly in one of your shows. Don't you worry about that.
Before we cut off, September the 5th, my birthday bash. Old Man Boxing heavily involved. I need to mention that. Thank you very much.
We will push that. Don't you worry. Thank you very much. Cheers, Rich. Brilliant. Thank you.